Okay. Hello and welcome everyone to episode 4 of the Skip to Credits podcast. It is November 19th, 2016 on the day of recording. I am joined
November
today...
20th.
Well, it's November 20th for one of our podcast crew today. Joined today by Michael, who...
I live in the future.
He lives in the future, somewhere down in New Zealand. Hi, Michael.
Hello.
How's it going?
Yeah, pretty well. How are you?
Pretty good. I'm also joined by someone who's much closer to where I am, up on Vancouver Island. His name is Jack. Hi, Jack.
Hello.
Yeah. If this is a little weird, this is the first time I'm hosting the podcast or doing the intro. So
I just want to say that you definitely have the voice for it.
Oh, thanks, Jack.
I'm not being sarcastic. I think you actually sound like a podcast voice.
Maybe I was practicing in the shower, but let's not talk about that. If you've never heard of Skip to Credits or never heard an episode, we are 3 engineers who became friends sort of out of common interests that we like talking about every once in a while. So we do a podcast every 2 weeks talking about the latest in pop culture. We put down our calipers and calculators and just talk about the stuff we've been watching or playing. And yeah, so I think as you might have figured out from the title of this podcast, we're going to be talking a lot about Arrival, which is a new sci-fi movie that came out last week in most places around the world. The Spoilercast bit will be towards the end of the podcast, so you don't have to worry if you haven't watched the movie. We'll leave all the spoiler-heavy stuff for the end of the podcast, so it'll be business as usual for the beginning. But maybe we'll start off with our general impressions and non-spoilery recommendations, maybe, of whether people should watch this movie or not. Let's start with you, Jack.
Sure. Yes, they should watch it. Michael?
Okay. yeah, Michael, we don't need any more elaboration. One line is enough.
I completely agree with Jack. You should watch the movie.
Yeah, I would say, yeah, you should watch the movie, but based on my own experience, don't go in with very high expectations. It's that's as much as I'll say for now. But Arrival isn't the only thing we've watched the last 2 weeks. Why don't you start, Michael, and let us know what you think of the first episode of the highly anticipated new TV show from Jeremy Clarkson and co.
First, I just want to say one thing about Arrival. I will elaborate a little bit on my one sentence, which is, as far as like going to the movies, going to see Arrival is like one of the best experiences I've had in a long time. Going to a cinema and enjoying a movie, it's the right kind of movie for that. So I would recommend it if you're ever going to watch it in theaters.
I would second that. Yep.
Yeah. But as for things that I've been watching over the last couple of weeks, like Sahil just alluded to, I did get the opportunity to enjoy the first episode of The Grand Tour, which is sort of the, I don't want to say follow up to Top Gear, but it's the TV series that the
spiritual
successor, of Top Gear, the BBC television show, which after the 3 main presenters and the producer sort of jumped ship, they joined hands with Amazon and created the Grand Tour. And my overall impressions were that it was back to the good old days of like classic Top Gear. It was so good to watch and super funny, super enjoyable. Highly recommended for anyone who enjoys any of those old Clarkson things. So
yeah, that's
definitely give it a go.
That's good to hear. Is there is it completely is it like watching another episode of Top Gear, or are they doing more different stuff?
It's it felt a lot like Top Gear in a lot of ways. Like the sort of like the video format is similar, where they'll start off the episode with sort of like this is what we're doing today, and then they like in this one they test 3 cars together, and I won't tell you which because Jack will have a fit.
No,
but then
I already know what the 3 cars.
Oh yeah, okay, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, so they test the Ferrari LaFerrari, the Porsche 918, and the McLaren P1. And so the first like 10 or 20 minutes of the episode is that, and then they jump to other stuff in the middle of the episode, and then at the end of the episode they jump back to those 3 cars and sort of finish it off with another 20 minutes of various things. So in that respect, it's very similar to Top Gear.
Right.
And to me, Top Gear was never about the cars so much. It was always about the hosts, and those hosts are just fantastic together. And it's totally like the good old days. Like the 3 of them are back together, and it's awesome.
Do they have a news section?
Oh yeah, kind of. They had like what do they call it? I can't remember what they call it, but they a lot of the time they're sort of making fun of the old BBC program because they can't actually copy it for legal reasons, so they sort of like get around, like dance around that in sort of some pretty funny ways.
Right.
So yeah, it's been good. But.
Nice.
I just want to ask a question. Is it like around an hour, like the old show, or is it different?
Yeah, this one was an hour and 10 minutes.
Okay.
This one, so
that's cool.
Yeah.
If you want to ask a question, Jack, just go ahead. You don't have to make the statement that you're going to ask a question.
All right.
Sorry. Yeah.
So
that's cool. Speaking of
who's next?
Speaking of premieres.
Oh my god.
So,
you doing your segue?
I was going to do the segue, but I was sorry, I delayed it a bit. Speaking of premieres, I was I played the opposite of that. I played the season finale of Hitman about 2 weeks ago. And why are you laughing, Jack?
Because your segues are interesting.
I tried. It was the last episode of the first season of this reboot of Hitman. And as you know, or as I've talked about before, every episode is set in a different place. And the last episode was set in Japan in a like super high-tech hospital tucked away on a mountainside, which you can only access via helicopter or some sort of like cable car thing that goes down to the village. It's really beautifully rendered, and it's like typical like what we've come to expect from this season of Hitman, which is like this huge sandbox with so many details. And yeah, I don't have much else to say that I haven't said before. This game, I think, is one of the most open-ended games I've ever played. Like, they definitely tailor all the opportunities and systems, but sometimes even they don't know how it's all going to work out. And sometimes they don't even tell you how to figure out something. You sort of have to play around with it. So, for example, there was one kill where I led a target. I saw a target's like route would go to like a spa, and she would look inside the spa, and there'd be like 2 guys. Sorry, a sauna. She'd look in the room, and there'd be 2 guys. And she'd go, there's too many peasants or something. I can't go in there. So I turned up the heat in the sauna. So the 2 guys, I did that because of something else, but I found out that those 2 guys left. So I thought, well, she's going to come back here. And I waited for her to come back, and she sat in the sauna, and the heat was really high. And I locked the door, and and obviously, well, she sort of dehydrated and died. That's that's sort of the dark side of Hitman, but just the system, just figuring that stuff out is always cool. And it's the only problem with the game, I don't even know if I'd call it a problem, is it doesn't have much of a story. So if you're coming in for like some sort of cool espionage story, it's kind of the weakest part. So yeah, I'll be talking about it a bit later with regards to Game of the Year stuff and when talking about news. But otherwise, that's about it for Hitman. Unless anybody else.
I just sort of a general comment about video games in general. as morbid as it sounds, that you're just talking about. Yeah, you just basically the point of the game is to kill people.
Yes, 90% of
I
games.
think it's
Yeah.
less.
Well, not.
It's less about that. It's more about sort of like being able to enter a world that you wouldn't be able to enter in real life. And it's just obviously games are meant they're made to be fun,
Yeah.
right? So it's just they put you in these situations that you'd never be in real life, and you get to have fun with it. So that's, I think, the point that you're getting at.
And there's some cool meta stuff in like I was playing DDR, Dance Dance Revolution with Hitman. This bald, super serious agent found a DDR mat in the middle of this Japanese hospital and was just dancing. And somebody animated that dance. And like, there's just weird stuff you can do in video games that just wouldn't make any sense in anything else. So yeah, it's just escapism. It's that's what most video games are. And Hitman is like, one of the best this year to do that. Yeah. So to pivot from games to something more traditional form of media, we're gonna check in with our expert on movies, Jack. I'm really hamming these.
I'm gonna go with the really, really, really old movie called Duck Soup.
Okay.
It's from 1933 or something.
Holy shit.
It stars the Marx Brothers, not to be confused with the other Marx Brothers that are, I think they're Soviet. No, maybe not Soviet, but like they're like part of the communist whatever. But the Marx Brothers. So it's a political satire. It's a really old form of comedy. It's got way too many puns for my liking. It's just filled with puns. It just doesn't stop.
It sounds amazing.
Just way too many puns, man.
Give us an example.
It's ridiculous. Okay, I'll give you an example. Good thing you asked, but I did write this down because
wow.
I was going to forget. Yeah, prepared. So for example, the basic story is about this guy who's put as like a president, I guess, of this country called Fredonia.
Okay, right.
And there's like another country called Sylvania. They're trying to like rule them or something. Anyway, so one of the scenes is they're in a court, and they're worried that if they have a war, they're gonna increase the taxes, for example. Mm-hmm. So someone's like, "Oh, we have to now increase taxes," and then one of the people is like, "Oh, my uncle lives in Texas." I was like, "Really?" Just imagine like a lot.
Nice.
Imagine lots and lots of that.
Right.
But nice. I gotta watch this movie.
So it's got like it's a very old school. It's very it's got a lot of slapstick humor from like the 30s, and it's pretty short. It's like 70 minutes long, so it's not very long. But because back in the day, 70 minutes was actually a feature film. Now it's like you have to add another 100 minutes to that. Right. That's like a super old movie. And then I've also, from like a newish film, I saw like a movie called Coherence, which is almost like a very low budget, small sci-fi film. Mm-hmm. It's a little bit amateurish. There's some dialogue which is just obviously expositional, and there's a bit of pseudoscience. But the basic idea is there's this comet that flies over the Earth or whatever, and then what ends up happening is they start. It's almost like a multi-reality movie. So the same world, the same person. There's multiple person of that person.
Right.
Multiple versions of that person. They're the same person, but they're like different alternate realities where they only combine in that one day or whatever. It's directed by this guy called James Ward Burkett, Byrkit. Yeah, it was interesting. So it's from 2013, so it's past the 2000 threshold for Sahel, so you can watch it.
Apparently, it had a budget of $50,000. That's it.
Yeah, it's very low budget. It's you guys should definitely like check it out. It's pretty interesting. It's hard to explain, but it's pretty much a psychological thriller. There's 8 people. They show up at dinner or whatever. The whole town or neighborhood, the lights turn off, so they go to this one place where the lights are on. And it turns out that house is the same as the house that they're in.
Okay.
Whoa.
I probably shouldn't have spoiled this, but like pretty much there's like multiple versions of the people.
Cool.
So that's pretty good.
Yeah. Sounds
Interesting.
interesting.
Do you guys watch any movies or?
I did. I watched Jingle All the Way, the best Arnold Schwarzenegger movie of all time.
Agreed.
I haven't seen that.
Oh, Jack, you should watch it. It's awesome.
Just give me like a quick synopsis.
Uh,
I have no idea what this is about.
It'll sound familiar, but yeah, go ahead, Mike.
So basically, there's this TV show called Turbo Man, and it's like the most popular TV show of all time. And the Turbo Man action figure goes for sale on around Christmas, and every kid in the world wants one. So Arnold Schwarzenegger's character wants to get one for his kid and has trouble, and hijinks ensue, and it's amazing. And he tells people to put down cookies, and it's just the best thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
I watched it when I was younger a lot. Yeah, it's something about
I
it.
haven't seen that.
Sorry, when I say best thing I've ever watched in my life, I mean it's all right.
Yeah, we get it.
No, it's like a Christmas movie, right? And full disclosure, I'm a pretty big fan of Christmas, so
there are not that
pretty
many
fun.
movies like that anymore. Like, there's something.
It was
like
sort of a
similar.
'90s thing, wasn't it? Like
Yeah.
it was, yeah, like Home Alone, like those sort of movies and stuff.
Oh
like,
yeah.
Home Alone. Yeah.
By the way, Home Alone 2 is my favorite Christmas movie of all time.
What's the second? The second one is the one in New York, right?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
And it start with a guest appearance from
Future current president, or I guess president to be Donald Trump.
current president-elect
currently the
Donald
president
Trump.
yet. President-elect, yeah.
That's right.
Such a weird word.
So that's
Phrase it.
that's something that's happened since last time we had a podcast, but let's not talk about it.
Yeah, sure. Talking about alternate universes. Jingle All the Way had like 17% on Rotten Tomatoes. That
Sounds about right. That sounds about right.
Just a heads up.
And it didn't matter because it made 130 million in the box office. So
Oh, so good.
who cares
Just
about
classic Arnie.
Yeah,
Classic
you have something here called director's cut, which sounds very interesting because it's a play on director's cut. But what is director's cut?
Yeah, it's definitely not a play on director's cut in any way. It's this
Really?
YouTube. Yeah, it really. It's this YouTube channel where this guy named Jimmy DiResta, who's an artist, but he specializes in like woodwork, metalworking, and all that sort of stuff. Basically,
okay.
he just he films some stuff doing a project, films himself doing a project, and then he just like edits the video himself, and it's like the editing's really good in it, and then he just sort of like talks through what he's doing as the video's going, and it's there's two things about it. One, it's like it's always like really inspiring to see people like working with their hands doing artistic stuff like that, and it always like every time I watch something like that, it just makes me want to go do the same thing myself.
Right.
And secondly, it's just like these videos are just incredibly therapeutic. Just like watching him like cut wood on a table saw, or like just hammer nails into a chicken coop or something like that. It's just like
there's
awesome,
there's a lot of videos like people who make cool videos on YouTube, sort of similar. Have you heard of AVE, like the Canadian dude? Well, he doesn't do this. He doesn't. Yeah.
Takes apart tools and stuff and
I like that guy is just entertaining, even if if you're not into making things. Yeah.
He's a bit crude at times, but
yeah, it's very crude.
I wanna say his the line he always says at the end of every video, but I'm not sure it's very family friendly.
Yeah, I would
then avoid it.
Keep something in your vice.
The DiResta cut videos, are they like around 10 minutes each, or 15
yeah,
minutes, or are
they're usually
super
about
long?
They're usually about 10 minutes each. So Jimmy DiResta has like he has various sort of endeavors. He makes videos for Make magazine, and then he has his own channel And the videos that he does for Make Magazine and his own channel are basically just him. He cuts these videos, but then he doesn't talk over them. It's just like video of him doing the work, and there's no talking or anything. But then there's this other company called Core 77, and the videos he does for those are the ones that he does voiceover on, and those are my favorite. Those ones are my favorite, so it's really cool. But yeah, speaking of YouTube videos, my favorite website, tested.com, released a YouTube video of sort of a little peek into Peter Jackson's personal prop collection, and they're basically, it's like a 7-minute long video, and it's just Adam Savage and Peter Jackson talking about the movie prop from 2001: A Space Odyssey, where it's HAL 9000's sort of like faceplate, little eye, like glowing red eye thing.
Yeah.
And it is so cool. Like, it's just like, I'm a huge fan of, obviously, of both Adam Savage and Peter Jackson, and it's just amazing to see sort of a tiny little glimpse into his personal collection. And even though they're only talking about the one prop, it's just like you see in the background of this video like so many other amazing things that I just want to go and like look at and hold myself. Which as a side point, I'm hoping to do so at some point in the near future, but I'll have to ask the right people. But my favorite thing about it is that Peter Jackson, like, for the longest time that he owned this HAL 9000 plate, he just like didn't even really he didn't think it was a complete thing,
Right.
because like he couldn't get like the eye thing to work or anything. And then like one time Adam was just there visiting, and he's like, oh no, you just like take this off and turn that around, and there you go. And so like Peter Jackson's owned this thing for years, but only recently knew that it was actually as awesome as it is. It's like this. He's this amazing director guy who loves these things, but he just like clearly just collects them because he likes the objects. He doesn't care if they really like are exactly right or whatever. It's just
There's if you go to tester.com, there's a good gallery of photographs of a lot of the props in there.
Yeah, for sure. It's pretty comprehensive gallery. It's like 100 and some odd pictures and stuff. It's really good.
I wish they I told you guys, but I wish they'd do one. I know somebody's done it, but I wish they'd do the same thing they did with Peter Jackson's prop cave with Guillermo del Toro's collection, because I'm sure that is worth watching.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, that's one thing as well. Is that video is one of 3 that they're going to be releasing. So there's going to be a couple more videos in PJ's like personal collection. So I'm really looking forward to those. And as a side point to what you just said, Sahil, Adam Savage is really good friends with Guillermo del Toro. So
right.
I think chances of them actually getting a tour of Bleak House, as Guillermo calls it, is probably pretty high. I think
that'd be sweet.
Yeah. I know Andy Richter of the Conan O'Brien show went to Guillermo del Toro's Bleak House.
Yeah.
I think they broke one of the props too.
Yeah, it's so funny.
I think the cameraman swung the wrong way or something, and then he dropped a statue or something. That was you should have seen the look on Del Toro's face. He's like, yeah, okay. He just looked sad, but he was like, he knew he couldn't help it.
Yeah, it's funny.
That was interesting.
It's been a while since I watched Hellboy. I think it's like should be mandatory to watch Hellboy every few years. Hellboy and Pan's Labyrinth.
Those movies are pretty amazing. I agree. Yeah. Pan's Labyrinth is one of the most emotional movies I've ever seen. Like that movie just gets me every time.
The song in it is pretty good.
Oh yeah, totally.
I'm pretty shit at pretty bad at mimicking music.
I think you were going for a Mad Men intro there. You know the Mad Men intro?
Yeah, I know. Oh yeah.
Speaking of Mad
Men. So I started watching Mad Men yesterday. I'm not going to talk about it too much this week. I'll talk about it maybe more than 2 weeks time. I would have because I just like halfway through season 1.
Right.
It's pretty good. I probably recommend it. If you watch TV shows and you don't like, you think there's not enough drinking and smoking and like a pinch of sexism and racism in your shows, it's like definitely the one to go to. And it's set in the 60s, so that's always good. But yeah, I'll talk about it more later on. But I've watched another 2 movies that I watched this in the past 2 weeks is Youth, which is directed by oh my god, I can't remember.
The guy,
It's
the Italian director, yeah.
Yeah, he directed a movie called The Great Beauty, which won best foreign picture. So this is Youth is about, it's got Michael Caine and Harvey Keitel, and they live in this. They don't live. They go to this like resort / spa in Switzerland. It's like the most beautiful place in the whole world I've ever seen. It's like beautiful green mountains and beautiful blue water and so on. And it's definitely more indie. It has like weird things going on with it. And
did you watch The Great Beauty?
I've seen it. I enjoyed it.
So what is more weird, The Great Beauty or this one? Because The Great Beauty has a definite strong level of weird stuff going on in that movie.
I would say, yeah, I think The Great Beauty is definitely a little bit weirder.
Yeah, okay. That's good.
Just because Youth is just a little bit. It's more. I guess it's more. It's hard. It's hard to explain why it's less weird, but it's less weird.
Is it worth watching?
Yes.
What? Really?
It's interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Another movie I watched is Anomalisa, which is what's it called? An animated film.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
By a director called Charlie Kaufman.
It's 3D. It's all 3D printed characters, right? Is that right?
Is it 3D printed?
No, I think it's like.
Maybe I'm confusing it. Sorry, yeah, stop motion, but using 3D printed.
Actually, now you mention it, some of the characters did look a little bit like when they did a close up of some of the characters, they did look a bit 3D. Yeah, 3D printed, but I'm not entirely sure.
Right.
I should say though, it is animated, but it is an R-rated animated film, so there's a lot of cursing and so on.
Really?
Yeah, so it's not like a lot of cursing. There's a bit of cursing, and then there's a little bit of like sex and nudity and all that stuff.
I can confirm it was 3D printed faces at least.
Okay.
Oh really? Okay, that explains. Yeah, because when they did it, there was like a couple of close-ups on the faces, and it was like it looked familiar, but I wasn't sure where I saw this from. Yeah. Oh yeah, by the way, speaking of that Youth that I was mentioning, the director's name is Paolo Sorrentino. Just throwing it out there.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I was gonna say I also read a book, which is interesting. A book called A Heart So White, which is a Spanish book, a Spanish writer called Javier Marias. I read it in English though because I don't understand Spanish, but it's like talks about like the doubt and fragility of marriage and stuff like that. It's interesting. Like now it's almost half philosophical, half novel. It's yeah.
How did you find out about it?
My uncle recommended it. He writes, cool. So he recommended it to me.
Nice. All right. I'll just touch on one more thing here before we switch to the next section. Do you guys know about David Blaine? Know who David Blaine is?
Yeah. He's the magician, right?
He's a magician. He had this little bit on the Jimmy Fallon Tonight Show, which started off this whole thing for me. He did this trick. You can watch it on YouTube. It's totally crazy. He basically put an aquarium in his stomach and then started regurgitating some of the animals in his aquarium. It's totally weird. And I was like, okay, I know this guy. I've heard of him, but there's this special on Netflix, David Blaine, Real or Magic, and I just watched it, and it was really entertaining. It's got like a whole host of celebrities famous people, like Stephen Hawking is in it, Woody Allen, Rick Gervais, Robert De Niro, Harrison Ford, and some of them, like he takes them to the point of like crying and like tears, like they just don't know how he's doing some of this stuff. And
Really?
some of it is like sleight of hand card tricks. Some of it is more mental stuff, like he'll make two people look at each other, close their eyes, they have some sort of connection, and then he'll touch one on the nose, and he'll ask the other person, "Did you feel something?" And the other person will go like, "Yeah, like you touched me on the nose, right?" And he'll say no. And everybody, like, he did one with Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith, and she was like crying. She's like, what are you doing? And then he, on top of all that stuff, he has like the one big trick, which in this case was like, becoming like a water hose. He'd drink a lot of water and then like put out a fire that he had stoked with kerosene that he had drunk. So he'd drink the kerosene, spit it on fire, and then regurgitate all the water. It's all crazy. And then obviously he was promoting his new special that came out last week called Beyond Magic. And I ended up watching that as well. It's similar to the previous special. He meets a few famous people, the Beckhams, Dave Chappelle, a few other people, and his big trick in this one is like stopping a bullet with his mouth. And it's like, there are parts, like, magicians are, you think of magicians, you think all psychic stuff and, it's all fake. But this guy is like really cool, sort of down to earth. He like recognizes the dangers. Parts of the show are like documentary, because the documentary type, he'll go and talk to a real doctor and, he'll do his tricks while being x-rayed or something. And they're like talking about how the kind of physical limitations there are. And everybody basically tells him you're going to kill yourself, but he doesn't care. And yeah, it's like, he's one crazy dude. And, those specials are pretty entertaining. Yeah. That's about as much as, all of us have seen or played, or read this past week. So I think it's time to move on and breeze through some of these news items. Jack, you didn't have any news to share?
I have nothing to share.
Awesome. Okay, Michael.
So my first news item here is it would have been just over a week ago now, but the first Valerian trailer, the Luc Besson film, sort of the spiritual successor to The Fifth Element, which is my favorite movie of all time, with some caveats. So they came out with the first trailer and a bunch of images, and oh man, does it ever look amazing! It looks and feels like The Fifth Element did, and that excites me to no end. So very much looking forward to that one, and I highly recommend you guys go and watch this trailer, or at least the first third of it, which is sort of our rule. We watch the first third of trailers so we don't ruin too much of the movies.
Yeah, it was great. The trailer's pretty good.
It's pretty awesome. But yeah,
there's other trailers out this week as well, like Kong Skull Island.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm so excited for Kong Skull Island. Like, it looks like. Okay, so I watched the trailer twice. I watched the whole thing twice, and it was, as far as trailers go, it was pretty good. It didn't really like give away too much, I don't think. But Kong is such like a historic character that there's not really much to give away anyway, because everyone knows sort of the story. So it'll be interesting to see how they sort of adapt it. But
is Weta involved at all?
Not to my knowledge,
because they did Kong, right, for Peter Jackson's.
Yeah, they did. You're right. So it's a Legendary Pictures film, which means that it's probably all
ILM.
ILM and Stan Winston, the Stan Winston School or whatever, the props company there. But yeah, so the first time I watched the trailer, I was a little bit worried because it almost looked like the movie didn't really take itself really that seriously, and some movies like shouldn't take themselves seriously, but Kong to me is like, it's a very serious story about the ape. It's not about the human characters, it's about the ape and or gorilla. I might be offending someone by calling the gorilla an ape. I don't know.
Okay.
Gorillas are apes.
Okay, then I'm
I think that is true.
Questioning myself. I apologize. So anyway, so Kong the story should be entirely about the ape, and I was worried by watching the trailer the first time that there's like all these other characters that are like the guy from Talladega Nights. I can never remember his name.
John C. Reilly.
Yeah, John C. Reilly. He
Right.
I bet that he's pretty funny, but he doesn't really seem to fit in that sort of movie. But at the same time, I watched it a second time, and like it sort of like seemed a little more serious the second watch through. And man, when they released that first teaser back at San Diego Comic Con,
Yeah.
I was so excited. It's just like the perfect blend between Apocalypse Now and King Kong, which is like King Kong is like one of my favorite sort of movie characters of all time. So yeah, and there's that one scene in the trailer where it's like Kong in front of the sun, and then there's two helicopters like flying towards them.
Right.
So cool, so cool. I'm
Cool.
so excited by that one. So yeah, that's like, I probably should have put that in like the things we're excited about segment of this thing, but I'm super excited about Kong Skull Island.
When is it out?
March of next year.
Okay.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Okay, I was just looking it up, but yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, so I'll definitely be looking forward to that one. But yes, so it's kind of like getting towards awards season too, hey? Like,
Yeah.
and I've been noticing a lot of awards buzz for La La Land, which is a movie I'm really excited about. I've talked about it a couple times on this show already,
Hmm.
but I really, really hope that it does well in the awards. Even though I haven't seen it yet, I'm just like, I know I'm gonna love it.
Yeah.
That's
So
probably
there was
what I have to say.
there was a ceremony, like it's called the Hollywood Film Awards. It's not a big thing. There are lots of people who go to it apparently, and it's only in its like it started in 1997, so it's not very established, but it sort of was a nice teaser for maybe what kind of movies are being considered for awards. So La La Land did win for best cinematography.
Mm-hmm.
But that was all it won. And also for
Mm-hmm.
producer, because the guy who won Hollywood Producer Award, Mark Platt, worked on La La Land. Best director, surprisingly, or maybe not, went to Mel Gibson for Hacksaw Ridge. So he won one of the big awards of the night. Best actor was Tom Hanks. Best actress, Natalie Portman. So Tom Hanks for Sully, Natalie Portman for Jackie. And Hugh Grant won for supporting actor. He has a new movie called Florence Foster Jenkins. I haven't heard of it. And supporting actress was Nicole Kidman for Lion, which is the new movie with Dev Patel. So yeah, there's it's supposed to be like just a sort of non-serious award show maybe, and but it seems like many of the movies that are being considered for later awards shows popped up here. So some more awards news. This is one of those the annual Governors Awards are like the Film Academy's way of honoring people like sort of with lifetime achievement awards, but they're not exactly lifetime achievement awards. They're just sort of honorary awards, and then during the actual Oscars they'll show a montage of people who got those awards. So this one was held last weekend, I think, and the 4 people who won included Jackie Chan, who everybody knows, Ann Coates, who was a editor who worked on things like Lawrence of Arabia, Lynn Stallmaster, casting director for many old movies that only Jack will probably know. I don't know, like any of the movies she's worked on. And then Frederick Wiseman, who was a documentarian, or most famously known for his documentaries. But yeah, Jackie Chan has a really great acceptance speech. You guys should seek it out. It's really funny. And the Game Awards also, again, speaking of awards, the nominees were announced. This is more like it's not very highbrow like the BAFTAs or anything like that, but it is one of the more recognized video game awards shows every year. And I just want to point out that Game of the Year does not include Hitman, and therefore all other awards in this ceremony are null and void. Game of the Year nominees include Doom, Inside, Overwatch, Titanfall 2, and Uncharted 4. And yeah, nothing so surprising there. Besides Inside, it's a very small indie game, so it's good to see that there. Yeah. So you can see all the nominees online, but yeah, I'm pretty disappointed Hitman didn't get nominated. And then in other news, this is really just a really side thing that I noticed. Terry Crews, famous for being in everything, basically. Really nice guy, is making a gaming PC, and there's like there's a whole YouTube video series that'll be done for it. And there's this intro video where Terry Crews is like standing there and just being Terry Crews about video games, and it's just the best thing. It's really funny. He's just like so excited. He's like, I'm gonna make a PC. This guy's gonna help me. It's either gonna be about Old Spice or like the president he played in some movie. I can't remember the movie now. President Camacho or something. And it's like, you guys get to choose. I'm really excited about this stuff. I think it's the future. Yeah. So nice. I don't know. I just thought I'd mention that. But yeah, transitioning now from news to things we're excited about. We'll start maybe with Jack, who hasn't spoken for a bit. Jack.
Yeah, that was like a lot of words, man. Okay, so because we do this thing every 2 weeks, I've written this 2 weeks ago, which is I'm excited about the Grand Tour,
right?
Which I still am, I guess. I've changed my mind like 20 minutes ago, but yeah. So yeah, it's come out. I think it's officially out in the US, UK, Japan, and Germany. I don't know why those. I know why the US makes sense and the UK makes sense, but Germany and Japan don't make sense to me. At least to me. I don't know. I'm sure there's like some legal reason or something. So yeah, I'm really excited to watch that show. I know that they're gonna have like some really cool cars, and I guess Michael already mentioned it earlier. How the first episode is pretty awesome. So yeah, that's me. I guess you're excited about that too. So
yeah, I've got pretty excited to watch that. Also, looking forward to. I'm probably not gonna have too much time to go watch all these movies, but there's really good movies coming out in the next 2 weeks. Hacksaw Ridge is already out. I want to watch that. Moana is coming out. Lion. Yeah. Pretty excited about that stuff. But that's about it.
So I just saw a little news thing today, actually, which got me really excited, is Disney is going to be building an Avatar section in the Animal Kingdom, which I can't remember if the Animal Kingdom is at Disneyland in California or Disney World in Florida. I can't remember. But either way, like I love amusement parks. Like I think they're especially like movie themed ones. That's why like Universal Studios is awesome. The Jurassic Park ride at Universal Studios is just the best. I could ride that all day, every day. But I'm super excited to be able to sort of in some way go to Pandora, which is like the moon where Avatar takes place.
Is it gonna be like virtual reality?
No, well, who knows? But I think it's like a physical theme park that they're building.
It just seems appropriate for that specific world to be virtual reality.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they have some sort of virtual reality portion to it in somehow. But yeah, it's like similar to like the Star Wars theme park that Disney's building. Like I'm excited about that one as well. But like maybe I've been living under a rock or something. I just hadn't heard about this Avatar one before. So yeah, I'm super excited with that.
When I read that first, I was like, wait, Disney's making something where you can have an avatar and then do virtual realities. Like, you know, you're going to be a virtual reality avatar and then just sort of explore their virtual theme park.
No. Actually, there's also a video game that came out called Planet Coaster, I think. Planet Coaster.
I heard about that.
It's like a theme park building game, and apparently it's just phenomenal. And I really want to play it.
Yeah, so, I heard it's really good.
Did it win any awards?
I was not nominated for any awards. Unfortunately. There's so many video games, they can't give them all awards, you know?
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, should we move on to the big bad final segment, which is going to be the Arrival Spoilercast. So full warning, everyone, we are going to be spoiling the heck out of this movie. So if you don't want it to be spoiled, I recommend you tune off now and then go and watch it also now and then come back and finish listening to this podcast.
Exactly.
But yeah, so to jump back into the movie itself, which I I really thoroughly enjoyed. I think we should start off maybe by talking about our feelings a little more in depth than one sentence this time.
Yeah. Why don't you go ahead, Michael?
So my overall impression was like I walked out of the cinema a little bit confused in some ways. I thought it was a stunningly beautiful movie and had some incredibly poignant moments. But overall, I think the sort of like the big reveal at the end was a little bit. Well, there's two things about it. It was a little bit convoluted, and two, I thought it was going to be a reveal about the aliens, not a reveal about her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But overall, like I would definitely watch the movie again. I probably actually be worthwhile to watch a movie a second time to pick up on a lot of things that you would have missed the first time through. So
Yeah.
I would say I'd watch it again, but only specific parts of it, because I generally thought it was a good movie. Maybe I came in with really high expectations of like this is gonna blow me away, like The Martian did, or like I don't think it was at the level of The Martian as a sci-fi space epic. Maybe okay. I'm not finished. This is gonna be a common trend. Okay, go ahead.
Are you telling me you were blown away by The Martian?
I thought The Martian was a better movie than this in terms of, okay, I would go back and watch The Martian right now, but this movie, I don't think I don't know. Maybe I'm getting off track, but I'll say this much. There was, for me, a dichotomy of really great scenes, really amazing scenes. For example, all the stuff that happened inside the shell with the aliens, they're beautiful set pieces. And then you go outside of that world, outside of that shell, and there's a lot of generic and rote and convoluted and very sort of, maybe the word cheesy is a bit too much, but very, like, things I've seen before and that I didn't like. For example, okay, like the whole idea that Russia and China are like these big antagonists, it's been done before, it's boring. It's like they also have, subtleties and things that they're doing on their end, but it's always like shown off as like, oh, the Russians have got the big tanks and they're going to fire them, and the Chinese are ready to go to war or something like that. And it just turned out to be sort of generic people talking like on this big screen, like Russia, Tokyo. It didn't feel real. It didn't feel grounded. Like the CIA guy talking to his boss on a big screen in the middle of the base. Like, why couldn't he go on his phone? Like, this was supposed to be a secret conversation. I know he's the only one in his room, but he doesn't have headphones on. The guy's like on a giant screen and they're talking. And that to me is just totally against the realism they're trying to portray with Amy Adams, like, doing all the linguistic professionalism, all that stuff. There was a dissonance there that I just couldn't get my head around, that made me, in the end, kind of disappointed with whatever was around the aliens.
I agree with the whole sort of like stereotypical, oh, it's like the Chinese and the Russians who are like, they're the ones that are causing the sort of the problems with the, like, or the potential, like they were the antagonists of sorts in the movie. And that kind of irked me a little bit. Like, why does it have to be them? Why can't it be like, well, why can't it be the Americans? Why can't they be the ones who are,
mm-hmm.
or the Canadians? There was no Canada.
And it's in stark contrast. And it's in stark contrast, especially with a Canadian director. But it was in stark contrast to the stuff that's happening inside the shell, where you're like, wow, I've never seen this before. Like, this is brilliant. This is amazing. And then I go outside the shell, and it's all back to the same end of the world. Things we've seen before many, many times, and maybe even done better. And it was, I don't know, it was kind of disappointing. And then there's the whole part about the renegade group that wanted to blow up the aliens. I felt that they didn't develop that bit of plot. Like, it just happened so quickly. They showed a little bit. They showed a little bit of it, but it just happened so quickly. They didn't try and explain exactly those people's emotions. It was just this quick plot device to put the end into action.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the bit where the Renegades guys, that part like really annoyed me, but at the same time, I think it was necessary for the story. Where it was did Costello die, or did it?
No, it's the
Was it Abbott?
uh,
Abbott.
I think, yeah.
Okay, well, whichever one died, if it was Abbott or Costello, I can't remember which one. When
Right.
the other one was like, or Abbott is in dying process or whatever, because he's like trying to translate. That really hit me hard. I was like, oh, he's in dying process. That's sad.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. That was interesting. Even like just to before I let Jack totally try and unravel my whole argument, I think there are lots of great things about the movie. Sound design is amazing. Like all the alien sounds is really great. The design of the alien characters is cool and sort of different. Amy Adams is great, even though I think her character is not my favorite. The Jeremy Renner's good, but on the flip side, that's it. When you think about that movie and performances, who else can you think about? Or Forrest Whitaker was just like invisible most of the time. He just said words. He wasn't doing much. I think there was no surrounding cast there. The CIA agent was very like Michael Stahlberg, wasted. He's just like this, annoying dude who's always against the protagonists. And that's it. It's Michael Stahlberg, Forrest Whitaker, and I don't know, maybe the kid and the two aliens.
Yeah, so I think like the linguistics side of the story was like, that was phenomenal. Like, never in my life have I been interested in linguistics.
True.
In any way whatsoever. But while I was watching that movie, I was like, wow, this is how they would have done it in real life when they meet a culture who doesn't speak a language, but they don't know what the language is. So this is actually how they would go about figuring out what it all meant and how to translate and talk to each other. That was really cool.
Yeah, I think I would have watched an entire movie about that. Just that. That would be okay with me.
Yeah. But yeah, so Jack, what's your thoughts on it?
I really liked it. I guess it has problems, but I have problems too. So I can live with them.
Yeah, no, I agree with that statement. Like, I think it was a great movie and well worth watching.
Yeah, exactly. And then there's I think it's the thing about like space films, generally speaking, they do have like that sort of ensemble feel, but this definitely was focused on one character. You know how there's those movies where it's really just one character's journey or something. This is one of those stories, so it doesn't really matter if you don't like the if there isn't enough screen time for any of the other characters, because it's really all about Amy Adams' character, right? Louise.
Yeah.
And then you talk about Michael Stahlberg's his being like CIA, but he's actually telling you what's happening with the real world, what's happening with all the different other countries. He's not being negative for the sake of being negative. He's being negative because if it backfires, because these aliens turn out to be villains or something, then you're the country's screwed, right?
Yeah.
So
I think sorry, carry on.
No, go ahead. I'm out of words.
Well, I was just gonna say that I was unsatisfied with the reason that the aliens were there.
Yeah.
I think that was like one of the big things about that movie for me.
That's a big part of it.
But at the same time, I'm not sure how else or what else they could have said for it to be like a sort of convincing, believable thing.
So apparently, I was reading up on this movie after I watched it, and apparently each of the 12 aliens, each of the 12 ships were supposed to introduce a certain technology to that country or whatever. So
right.
One of them was supposed to give faster than light travel. One of them is supposed to give healing powers or something, and so on. But apparently, I think the director took it out just because he thought it was similar to Interstellar, even though it isn't.
Okay, right.
Because there's definitely like time elements, right? There's that time element that you see in the Nolan movie.
Especially non-linear time, yeah.
Yeah, especially it ends, it starts with the end, but it's sort of like Inception, how it starts just like in the ocean or whatever.
It was the very Nolan-esque ending, and like the whole wrapping around was very Nolan-esque in its.
it was pretty cool, and it really made me think. Like I had to think about it a lot in order to sort of like be okay with it. Like when I first saw it, I was like, wait, that's silly. But then I thought about it some more, and yeah, I actually quite liked it.
I think it doesn't convey that. It doesn't convey the it doesn't let you make the connections very easily. You have to sort of really think about them hard after the movie. So on that front,
you have to think that hard.
Yeah, I guess. But for some people, like there's a couple of people in the theater who left, like the first two people to leave when the movie's credits started rolling, and they're being stupid. But to say it out loud, as they walk between the front and the lower and upper bowl, they were like, "What a bunch of bullshit," was their comment as they walk by. So there's those people who go like, okay, you lost me. But I think they also rushed a lot of it. The ending is, I think it would have worked. This story and premise could work amazingly for a TV show. Just saying, if they ever want to do it.
Do you guys know what the bird was all about?
Do what?
No.
Oh, the bird.
Yeah. I think it was just like a canary in a coal mine in case like the atmosphere.
Oh, really?
That's that's what I was thinking.
So Jack, they should have had like a character just say a throwaway line being like, "Hey, why do you have the bird?" Because da 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 da. Instead of like this whole.
I thought the only reason they had the bird is in case like there's no oxygen or something.
Yeah, but some of us are stupid. We need to be told these kind of things.
That makes so much sense. That makes so much sense.
It was even a canary. Like, what else do you want?
I don't know. We're moving away from coal mines and stuff. I don't know.
It looks like a mine. It looks like a mine shaft.
Yeah. It was cool.
That's a really interesting thought, but like, you don't do that in modern day things. You have like electronic sensors and stuff. So
maybe they couldn't trust their sensors. You never know.
Maybe.
I think it's more visual.
Yeah, and it was a neat little.
It's better than showing like a meter, an oxygen meter.
Yeah. Jack,
and I think Renner and Amy Adams were both. If you think about it, there were no aliens. They were just looking at probably a green screen, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you think about that, they were really great at like conveying this sort of wonder as they look at these things.
You're right though. The every scene inside of the alien ships everyone was magical.
Yeah.
Like that's where the movie really shined for me. I agree with you there, Sahil.
Yeah. Actually, another moment that I really liked was like the moment where Amy Adams is with her daughter, like the beginning and at the end. It's like it has like a very Terrence Malick vibe to it. It's like
I was thinking, Yep.
I like the music there too. Yeah. Actually, one of my favorite scenes was the first scene when the first time that Louise and them are entering the alien ship, when they raise the scissor lift up and then it's like stops and like, okay, well now what are they going to do? It's not. They have like another 100 feet to go, and then like that sort of reveal as to how that dynamic worked or that physical thing worked. That was really cool. I like that a lot. And I should say as well that I wouldn't call this a space movie in any way whatsoever.
No,
it's an alien movie.
It's a sci-fi.
It's an alien movie, yeah.
It's a sci-fi movie for sure.
And going back to your comment about The Martian, Sahil, I agree. The Martian like blew me away. It was awesome. That movie was amazing in every way except for the third act. Totally lost me on the third. If only there was a way that they could like find out what would and wouldn't make sense in a science fiction movie or like a space movie.
If only
they could just ask someone.
I'm sure they didn't, go and talk to JPL people or anything like that. They're so, movie producers. But Arrival is a interesting movie with some, for me, amazing elements and some very, I was literally holding my head at some points, like going, this could have been much better. This is, So that was my experience.
I was just gonna say I thought it was a very beautiful movie visually.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Visually stunning.
The cinematographer's actually doing the Han Solo spin-off film. His name is Bradford Young.
Oh, right. Nice.
I was gonna say that what's really interesting because usually with movies, especially like recently, the lead is always like he's in the army or the navy or something. It was nice to see like a linguist, which is something I've never seen in
True.
somewhere in a movie, which is always good. It's like you know how Indiana Jones is an archaeologist, which is something you never see, or you have like Sam Neill in Jurassic Park as a is it paleontologist? Like it's always interesting when you see like this profession that you never see in a movie.
But the thing
That's
is,
true.
with Indiana Jones and what's the other example you just gave? Yeah, with Sam
Jurassic
Neill,
Park.
did we really see them looking at like charts and actually doing the work? Did you see
No.
Indiana Jones doing
true.
archaeology? It was just like
No,
This-
but I bet you after that movie came out, there's probably like 100. I God knows how many thousands of people was like, I want to become an archaeologist too.
yeah, maybe.
Yeah, this goes back to my thinking that they should really make an Apollo 11 movie for the 50th anniversary that focuses on the engineers and the engineering involved rather than the astronauts.
Yeah.
But like
Well,
do it like in such a way.
That new movie, Hidden
could be cool.
Strangers,
Hidden
is
Figures.
That's true.
Hidden Figures. I saw the trailer and it looks like it's doing well. It's tackling other issues, but it's focusing on people who are like engineers and mathematicians.
Yeah, that
space
looks really
program.
good actually. I'm excited about
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's more focused on Mercury 7, the Mercury astronauts more than the Apollo. I think.
Okay.
Right.
Or was it Apollo? Maybe it's Apollo. I don't know.
Also, I just want to say, so Denis Villeneuve directed Arrival, and I thought he did a pretty great job of it, and it just makes me so much more excited for the Blade Runner sequel.
Right.
So excited.
Have you seen the other Villeneuve films? Sicario
Yeah, I was
and,
gonna say let's do a poll. Has everyone seen every movie that Villeneuve has made for the last since Insondi?
No, I have not.
Okay, what
I
Villeneuve
have.
movies have you seen?
Sicario.
Oh, you saw it?
Yeah.
That was
Yeah,
pretty
it's
intense.
good. Yeah. Tell me about it.
Jack, what about
man.
you?
Oh, I saw. I think I saw Ascendi, and I saw Polytechnique, and I saw Sicario, and I saw Prisoners, and I saw this one. I think I saw like,
Okay.
all of them, most of them, if not all of them. He even has a short movie that's really really funny. It's like a guy who's trying to get elected into like office or something. And yeah, you guys should look it up. But it's he's like talking to these people. It's like stock footage edited with this guy speaking, and it's very funny and entertaining, and it's quite something to talk about afterwards. I'll find it. I'll post it for you.
If I look back at all these 4 or 5 movies I've watched of his since Insondi, I think it's still Prisoners is still Insondi and then Prisoners are still my favorite, and then Sicario and Arrival are on the lower end. Even though when I say lower end, I still mean pretty good movies. But if you haven't seen Prisoners and Insondi, man, those are tough to watch, but they're great. They're really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty
But
good.
yeah.
All right. So anybody has any more comments about Arrival before we sign off?
Let me think really quickly. Oh yeah, I did want to make one comment. Now when Amy Adams goes to like the special place where like she's like in zero gravity, she's like floating or whatever. Like it's super white. It's like super shiny white, and her hair is flowing. I was thinking that what they should have done is in Inception there was like a scene where there was like a zero gravity. So Ellen Page had obviously long hair. So in order to avoid her hair dealing with zero gravity with her hair, they had the whole scene. She has her hair in a bun.
Yeah.
That way, they don't have. So the problem is with Amy Adams that there's like it feels more CGI than the rest of the movie. Like the hair and stuff.
I bet you that scene cost them so much money on the CGI side.
Yeah, probably, yeah. But I thought it would have been a lot easier if they just tied her hair in a bun, and then they could have done more practical effect, and it would have just been shiny white instead of just weird.
I guess they're just trying to push the envelope.
Yeah.
It's all about that envelope.
Yeah.
Speaking of envelopes, no, just couldn't do it. It's I think if you've survived the Spoilercast, good for you, and thanks for because I think if you didn't, then you're not going to be listening to this. But in any case, thank you for listening to another episode of Skip to Credits podcast. You can find us on Facebook and Twitter and all the usual places. And we'll be joining you, or you'll be listening to us, or our warm dulcet tones will be illuminating your brains in another couple of weeks' time.
Goodbye.
Thanks for listening, guys.
See you guys.